there's so much talent that is truly humbling to be here tonight. A reminder of that humility was when I learned, as a 3-time Grammy winner myself, our first presenter of the evening has won 4 Grammys. To present our first World Golf Hall of Fame inductee, Sandra Palmer, please welcome Canadian Music Hall of Fame member Anne Murray.
Thank you. Sandra and I met in 1975 when she was at the peak of her career and I was just a few years from the peak of mine. She had just won the U.S. Open and the Dinah Shore, and we met in Lake Tahoe where we were guests, strangely enough, on a Perry Como television special. The guests on the show were women in sports at the time and me. The morning after we met, Sandra took Billie Jean King and me out to the driving range for my very first golf lesson. And Billie Jean, being the fierce competitor that she is or was, and I being the wannabe athlete that I was, tried to outdrive each other while Sandra looked on, probably trying not to laugh out loud. I don't remember who won the contest, but I do remember I pulled a muscle in my back, and it took almost a year to heal. So that was my official introduction to the game, and I have enjoyed a lifetime of golf and frustration ever since. Sandra and I have kept in touch over the years. I watched her play in golf tournaments, and she came to see me in concert. When I asked, she came to Toronto and played in my charity golf tournament. Ours has been a long-distance friendship, but an enduring and cherished one. On the golf course, Sandra was small but mighty and made up for her size with grit and grind. It was obvious to me that she was a great golfer, but what impressed me even more was Sandra the person, her warmth, friendliness, and kindness to other players and patrons alike. She had time for everybody, inside and outside the ropes, even in competition. She's been a mentor and inspiration to young golfers for years.
I talked to Sandra Palmer on her 80th birthday, right after she had gotten word that she was going to go into the World Golf Hall of Fame. And she was working at her job at the local golf club where she gives lessons. And the joy that she felt to be recognized and to be celebrated was palpable through the phone. And I couldn't have been happier for her.
Sandra Palmer is one of the fiercest competitors you'll ever come up against. She's like a little spark plug.
She bounced a lot down those fairways. She loved every minute of competing, and she was a tough cookie because she was all business. I learned a lot from Miss P. I learned a lot.
She was competitive, she was fierce, she was just an amazing player and had great success, winning 19 times on the tour and 2 major championships. I don't think that success should ever be undervalued.
Sandra was certainly a focused person who, I'm sure was in her moment on the golf course, but she also has this infectious personality.
I don't believe it. Like Sandra Palmer.
Harry, want to play around?
The idea is to hit the ball all the way up to that green, way up there, see it?
But it's so far away and I'm just a little girl. Wherever did it go?
Wherever did it go? Probably rolled into a hole somewhere.
She was this little bitty thing, tough, wanted to win, worked really hard. I always saw her practicing hard, and I always admired that. She was such a great competitor, very focused.
If you were going head to head, she was determined she was going to beat you.
Every time someone pulls close, Palmer just reaches back and comes up with something extra. She's been nothing short of incredible for this entire tournament.
She beat some of the very best and the biggest legends of the game.
Sandra has lived the game and she loves the game. And that's why she's still in it. She's helping young kids learn the game. You have to give her a lot of credit for that and her love for what she does.
You can tell that she just loves golf and loves the opportunity that she had during her career to play golf, to teach golf, to be a part of this amazing community.
That tenacity and the feeling of the extra mile that a lot of players had to go to really make this dream a reality. The women who make it into the Hall of Fame, they weathered it all, and she continues to do that so beautifully.
It's truly an honor for me to induct into the World Golf Hall of Fame my friend, Sandra Palmer.
Needless to say, this is a little overwhelming. It's almost like as bad as playing against Joanne Carner in an 18-hole playoff at the U.S. Open. Big Mama. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Anne, for those kind words and for being here this evening. And in case you don't know, Anne plays golf just about as well as she sings. You know, this really feels like a dream, and I'm very grateful for this honor. It's a thrill to be honored tonight with the LPGA founders, and I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees' families and Podrick Harrington, and I love Patty's golf tips. He's really a good teacher, too. Unfortunately, many of the people that I would like to pay tribute to are only here in spirit. I look out and see so many friends and players that I have admired and played alongside over the years. You made me a better player. I would like to thank my longest friend who is here tonight, Sandra Haney. Not my oldest, but my longest. We met when we were just teenagers. Sandy, you always had time for me when I needed it, and boy, did I need it sometimes. A special thanks to Johnny Revolta and Ernie Vossler. I played lots of golf with them and learned a great deal. And there are so many others that I can't thank all by name, but you know how much you mean to me. Many are here tonight. I'd like to give a special thanks to my friend Betsy Rawls, who passed away this past year. And Betsy made it possible for me to be coached by the great Harvey Pinnock. At that time, I had a job teaching at a high school. So every weekend, I drove 3.5 hours from Fort Worth to Austin to stay with the Pinnocks and train with Harvey. His teachings and the love and support that he and his wife, Helen, gave me influenced not only the player that I am, but I'd like to thank the person I am. You know, Harvey never charged much for lessons. I asked him once, why don't you charge more money? And he said, because if you charge more money, you have to use big words. When I was 10 years old, my parents moved from Texas to Maine. Every day, my school bus passed a golf course, and I was mesmerized. One day, I couldn't hold out any longer, and I asked the bus driver to let me off, and he did. And that's where my lifelong journey began. They had a golf and caddy program for juniors, even back then. And I caddied for a man named Max Weinstein. He loved me because I never lost a ball. He taught me a lot about the game, the rules, etiquette, and the swing. And I remember that he putted with his right forefinger down that putter shaft, just like you, Nancy Lopez. 21 years later, I was playing in a tournament in Miami, and on that Sunday, on the first tee, there was this man I'd caddied for when I was 10 years old, Max. Guess what? I won that tournament in a playoff against the great Kathy Whitworth. It was a great day for Max and me. So I entered my first junior golf tournament when I was 10 years old, and I sent my newspaper clipping back to my grandmother in Texas. She was so proud of me because I had the highest score. But times were difficult for me at home, and I returned to Texas where I lived with my grandmother, who, this is sort of the emotional part of my journey, so forgive me. And then I met Vita and Ed Warren, and they were wonderful people. We became very close, and eventually they asked my grandmother if I could come and live with them. So when I was 14, I went to live with the Warrens, and my whole world changed. They were my adopted family. I wish they were here. You know, it took me 7 years on the tour to win my first professional tournament. Touring life back then wasn't easy. And many people asked me, why don't you just quit? But I just love everything about the game, and I still do. I just love it. Everything that I have, I owe to golf, including many of my dearest friendships, and many of you are here tonight. Everyone needs a little help along the way. We all do. And in light of recent events, I just would like to say, and I hope you would all agree with this, if you're out there struggling in any way and you need help, someone will be there for you. Right? And I know I had plenty of help from people that helped me along my way. One of Harvey's sayings to me was, give Lady Luck a chance, and then let God put his hand on your shoulder. And I remember many times walking down those last few halls asking God to put his hand on my shoulder, and quite a few times it happened. This might be a water break. It's only water. I wish. So in 1964, I left Fort Worth in my brand new Thunderbird, driving across country by myself to play professional golf. I was following my dream. I had no GPS, no cell phone. I probably should have been scared, but I was giving Lady Luck a chance. And here we are. As I wrap this up, I just want to say this is one of the greatest honors of my life. And I'm so deeply grateful to be sharing this with all of you and my chosen family who are here this evening. Tonight, I truly feel his hand on my shoulder. I thank you.